Well, hello, 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 everyone. Welcome here. Welcome to Meet Tina. How's everyone's doing? Well, today I'm so excited because I have this amazing lady, Danielle Lipton. She is from the Tree of Life organization. She is a channeler. She has a gift of channeling to the star people. So she's going to be doing a live demo on me. She's going to be telling me my galactic family, my heritage, my gift, what am I here to do? And I'm sure a lot of you starseed people would like to find out about yourself as well. So if you want to find out, you want to experience her channeling process, stay until the end of this video, guys. It's going to be fun. So let's welcome Danielle. How are you doing, Danielle?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Quickly, before we meet here, she asked me to meditate for 15 minutes. So I'm going to ask you why you asked me to meditate for 15 minutes.
Well, now there's a lot of information that comes across to me when I actually take a look at your energetic grids. So I do a full energetic clearing. Now, the way that we raise the human consciousness is we clear out the energetics and then we allow new information to come in. And that in itself, it raises the mind, body, spirit frequency significantly. So anytime that you receive new information, you have to clear out the memory bank of the old information to allow the new to come in. So, and when I do the energetic clearing, that's really when all the information on your star family comes forward, which you actually have an Arcturian husband and you have children in another planet waiting for you. So after this lifetime, they did say that you will be reconnecting with them. They live approximately 1,500 years. So a human lifetime being 80 to 100 years is like a micromillisecond to them. So that was really, really interesting. But they are guiding you and supporting you from their home planet. So they say that if you've ever felt like someone was saving you or like telling you to turn left when if you turn right, you would have gotten hurt, that was your children, because your children are constantly with you and they're guiding you and supporting you from your home base planet.
So you're saying I'm an Arcturian?
Yes. Well, the way the Starseed program works, it's actually a little more intricate than that. See, many of us came from the crystalline frequency octave, which if you look at the primary chakra system, inside your physical form, we have the physical reality, the 3D, but there's an octave above us. That octave is in the crystalline range. Now, most of the Arcturians are 5D or higher. And so their octave is in the crystalline. That's how they're able to instantaneously manifest into the physical reality. And so many star seeds, we come from that frequency range, but we have to manifest into different planets with different people to hold the physical form before we come into Earth, because Earth is a very low 3-dimensional frequency. And so the soul form might be too incoherent in the frequency if we came right from the crystalline into Earth. So it's kind of, they consider it like an internship program. So many times we'll go to different planets, we'll have those experiences, and then when the soul is ready, we'll come to Earth for this moment in order to assist in the evolutionary process. Now, some of us have also come and we've downloaded or manifested into Egypt times or Lemurian times. This way, that's when a lot of us retain the knowledge and the background of actually activating the magical abilities that we have. That's when we learned it. Because when the soul is in the crystalline realm, it's instantaneous. It's like as children are. We have access to these abilities. But learning the physical process of activating these abilities is something that you would have had to go through some sort of life experience that showed you, okay, you want to manifest something, so here's the steps of doing it. And then once that information gets encoded into your memory grid, that's when you came into this life in order to activate that memory grid and activate your crystalline DNA structure, which then in turn allowed you to activate your extrasensory gifts.
Wow, that's a lot of information there. So tell me, you went into my energetic field earlier before we ever met online here, never met me before. So you said you saw a lot of stuff. Tell me what you picked up and what you got. This is exciting because I never have anyone read my Starseed Heritage and my Galactic Family before. This is amazing.
Yes. So, well, I'll just call it density, because certain times when we have emotional expressions, those emotions, they fire out from your heart chakra. There's an emotion grid. It's hexagonal in nature and blue. And so when we are highly emotional, it ricochets out into our energetic grids and it causes like a black spot or a form of density. So that density, each night we're supposed to close our eyes, meditate, and clear the energetic grids. But we have not been aware to do this. So when we go through a childhood in our entire lifetime, all of these emotional traumas cause density marks in our energetic grids. And so a lot of those came out. You have tiny ones, but I don't really know if you want to speak about those on camera.
Sure, I'm open. Speak it that way. All the audience will see what it's like. They want to experience actual experience. I'm a very open person, so you can good, bad, lay it down.
Just making
no problem.
Sure, because
Yeah.
I don't like to talk about people's traumas unless they're fully aware.
I have no issue with that at all. I'm so open. Yes.
Perfect. Okay,
Yes.
so you had a tiny density blockage in the root chakra, and it's blocking you from your full potential, they said. So that blockage actually comes in and it starts making the orange chakra a little bit incoherent. So it can, if you've ever had trouble in your social circles where you just felt like there was a cycle repeating, or sometimes people come and they go, that's all pertaining into the root chakra and the tiny blockage. Now, they said when that blockage is fully healed, which we just went and we did a full clearing specifically on the root chakra. So pay attention to how you're manifesting in the physical reality, because that's about to shift and you're about to get leveled up. So let's say, for an example, the fact that they said that you're a knowledge student. So you take knowledge and you share it. That's a knowledge student. So they said that that is about to be upgraded and leveled up. So maybe things like, imagine if the amount of people who listen to your videos could potentially get a leveling up because we just done the energetic clearing. And so be aware that the amount of people, places, and things are also going to shift, which in turn is going to look like the people, places, and things that you need in order to fulfill your highest passion and potential are going to fall at your feet, because now you are rebalanced back into a neutral energetic frequency. Okay, let's see. So they did say that the root chakra was a childhood trauma, and it's also been from a past life tied into an ancestral karma. So they said that you've been with your family on Earth for a couple different sessions. So kind of like you go through and maybe you're the grandmother and then you're the daughter or then you're the niece, right? We go through different sessions with our family bonding units. And yes, you've come from the higher crystalline realms and you have the Arcturus family, but you've been here on Earth. Now, a lot of times the Starseed program, they will do DNA modifications to your lineage, which means that they'll go in and they'll do DNA modifications on your grandmother, your mother. This way, your physical biological form will be properly attuned in order to accept your soul into this reality. So they've done that. This way you have the highest potential of unlocking your crystalline DNA structure, which then in turn allows you to unlock your extrasensory abilities, which you've already started doing, they've said. So unlocking the extrasensory abilities, think about magnetism. Our sense of magnetism is an extrasensory ability. It's not known as the five senses. Now, your sense of direction directly correlates to your sense of magnetism. Having the ability to determine which way is north is following a magnetic pole, right? So you have hematite and magnetite crystals inside your brain, which vibrate or oscillate at different resonances. And so when you are properly attuned and you start doing the energetic clearing on your structures, then all of a sudden these extrasensory abilities fire off, and it gives you access into a different manifestation process of the physical reality. So the physical reality we may see as being solid, but if we took each and every item and we put it under a high-powered microscope, you would notice that the atoms and molecules are under a different vibratory frequency. So your body, being an energetic projection, is able to direct and blast this frequency to any item in the physical reality. So let's say, for an example, if you took a bottle of water and you put it in your freezer, it would generate a type of vortex energetic in it if you've held that bottle up to your heart and you sent a love-based emotion into it. If you took a regular bottle and put it in the freezer, you wouldn't have that vortex into it. So that's the simple way of allowing the unlocking of the belief system for how our physical form projects this frequency and has an effect on the physical matter. So when we know this, we can start projecting this energetic at any item in our reality and raising the frequency of every single item. Now, this is also known as blessing. We're designed to bless the food that we eat because there's water inside the raw food. So when you bless the food that you eat, it raises the frequency of the food. Now, if you're eating raw foods, each color food is directly correlated to a chakra system. So each chakra is going to have an effect, but when you eat that food with that color, it's going to start to clear and imbalance those chakras and heal your physical form. So you always want to take the food, and we always say that we can feel when someone places love into their cooking, and that's the reason why, because it's raising the frequency. Yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's amazing. My God. So now let me ask you, you mentioned about the manifestation earlier. So is that what is my gift? Is that what ability in this present lifetime for myself?
They said that you're a knowledge student. So the knowledge students are the ones who tune on to basically the extrasensory gifts, right? So you would need some type of knowledge to unlock the gift, right? So the second that you know and believe that some of the scientific information is true, it triggers something in the veil system, which unlocks the gift to full manifestation. So when that happens, all of a sudden, because you like to take in all this new knowledge, you're also a projector for it, right? So you're taking in the knowledge, you're sharing it with many, many people. That is your primary gift. But they also said that you were going to have the potential to unlock it's like an energy projection with the chi. Your chi is your thought energetic, or like an electrical in the physical form. So you have the potential to project that energy and move items with your mind. So let's say, for an example, if you took a tea light and you put a safety needle on it and you put a piece of tin foil so it's able to spin, and you put a glass vase over it so that no air can get to it. If you sat there with your hands and projected a love-based energy and just visually see the tin foil is spinning, the tin foil will start to spin. And that's because your chi energetics are properly attuned for this gift to evolve. Yeah.
Wow, that's funny because I mean, when I was a little girl, I used to sort of like play a game, and that would be my kind of game. What you just explained, I would visualize items moving across the room, not necessarily that it's actually happened physically, but in my imagination, I tend to do that when I was a little girl. I tend to move around. I tend to see myself fly or see myself appear in and out of places across the ocean. Things move the mountain.
That's confirmation for you, right?
Yeah,
so whatever you do as a child, it always will reflect into the adulthood. So if you take a look at your childhood, you'll notice that your childhood has set you up with different experiences, and those experiences have crafted the person that you are today. So when you had the experience of moving items with your mind as a child, just know that that was your intuition from your higher self, guiding you to the abilities that you were first going to unlock as an adult. Now, it's very important. They're saying if you can do earth grounding, which is taking your shoes off and grounding to the earth, that's going to help to discharge any negative ions in the physical form, and it's going to allow you to project this energy further. But there's a magnetic energy that pulls from the crown chakra and comes all the way down the body. And so when you start to bring these two into alignment, it starts the process of activating what's called the Merkaba field. So the Merkaba field is electrical magnetic, and it's a counter-rotating spinning triangle system. But when that's properly activated, it really starts to heal and activate your memory grid. So when you start the process of bringing your electrical systems onto alignment, your memory grid is going to become activated and unlock. When it unlocks, you unlock your memory from the past lifetimes, and you will automatically remember all of these gifts that you came into the reality programmed to activate during this moment of evolution.
Wow. Now, before we started this talk, Danielle, you mentioned about the grid in the front and the grid in the back. Can you elaborate on that, please? Yes.
Sure. So each chakra is a type of vortex, or it kind of looks like a cone coming out of the front of the body, but it comes out of the back of the body as well. The front is when we project love, and the back is when we project fear. And so when we can go into each one of these chakra systems, it's the primary color, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, and we can pull apart your energetic grid. That energetic grid, we use the conscious mind to just visualization and pull apart the grid. And then it forms a circular pattern around the person's body. So any density in that grid is going to look like a black spot. So we take that density and we wipe it off, or we shine love and light from our palm chakras, and it clears the density, which then in turn clears the energetic grid. Now, any density in this grid, if it's in the front of the grid, it's a current situation or current emotion that you're currently handling. Any density in the back of the grid is from the childhood trauma. If it's in the upper area of the grid, it can affect the top portion of your body. So this is where the distortions would occur. Distortions could be diseases or electrical distortions that cause problems to manifest in the physical reality. So we look at the middle section, that's the internals of the biological form, and the lower sections have to do with if you're able to properly walk or function through the holographic simulation, would do with the lower portions of the grid. Now, each grid being a different color pertains to different areas of your life. So if it's in the root chakra, it's pertaining to your physical existence. The orange chakra is going to be your social and like your friendships and your bonding with other people. The yellow is your creative centers. So how well are you able to create and put your full potential out there into the universe, right? So each chakra system is aligned with different aspects of your life. And we actually have a source frequency lens right above our head. It's two counter-rotating Merkaba fields, which are basically like the Jewish star, but there's two of them. So it's 12 pointed. And so we're able to go into a meditative state and make changes into that grid. Now that grid has three different aspects to it. The tiniest aspect is the amount of source frequency light that comes into your physical form. So anybody who has a disease or a distortion, you need to meditate, change that lens, which allows more light to come into your physical form, and it allows the body to instantaneously heal itself. The second layer of that form is your environmentals. So what does your house, your car, your pets, your animals, and your food look like? That's the second layer to it. The third layer is the planetary and the solar system. So when we start bringing in new lights, you have to realize that your physical form is kind of like a droplet of water with a light projecting into it. That light ricochets out and it makes the entire physical reality. We are light beings in nature. We are not physical at all. So when we go and we have access to change the amount of light that's coming through, we have full-blown access to change the manifestation of the physical reality as we see it.
Wow, that's amazing. So what color did you see in my, you saw any density or you saw any color? Because that's what you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, I went through each and every grid. So I pull the red grid out and then I clear it. And then I actually reprogram it. So I put abundance coding and bringing millions of dollars, and I get really creative with it. And because when you reprogram it, it acts like a manifestation. So why not reprogram it with activation of extrasensory gifts? And then you make the grid tiny and you put it back in the chakra. And then you pull out the orange one. The orange one is friendships. Thank you for giving her all the friendship she needs. And you just wipe off any darkness on the grid and you reprogram it. You send it light and love and you put it back in. Right now, when you put it back in, it's kind of important to hold your pinky and your thumb. And I don't know why, but the star people have me do this for each and every one. I think it activates something energetically. But when you do that, you put it back in, and then you know that that manifestation and that energetic, it kind of works the same as a crystal works. So the crystal is radiating a frequency wave. When we hold a crystal, our energetic grids start to absorb that frequency. Well, the second somebody sits there and programs loving intentions and shoves it in your grid, it acts like a crystal. So that frequency is going to vibrate out until it hits your energetic grid, the whole structure or the complex of it. And then it's going to change the way that you manifest in the physical reality. So we can see how we do this automatically, because when we send love to someone, sometimes all it takes is giving a person a heart hug, right? Just giving them a hug and letting them know that they're loved. And when you do that, it changes their entire day. That's the same thing that happens when you start to program people's energetic grids. Now, you can even take the energetic thought grids. Your thought grids are every single thought that runs in your conscious mind. When you take that grid, all of a sudden you could program it with positive, loving, caring, kind thoughts. So what you're actually doing is changing the polarity of the thought. Let's say that you constantly have a negative thought running. Oh, I'm ugly, right? Well, you take that thought. It looks like a black mark. So we don't see the thought. We just see black. And we recrystallize it with love and light. All of a sudden, that I'm ugly turns into a thought of I'm beautiful. And so instead of you having the I'm ugly thought, it's more positively aligned polarity. and then you'll see yourself as beautiful, which will change the way that you function in the physical world if you see and you perceive yourself to be a beautiful person.
This is what everybody needs to do.
Yeah.
Seeing themselves, the best that it can be, seeing themselves beautiful and seeing themselves perfect. That's what
Yeah.
they ought to be. Now, you mentioned about the Arcturian earlier. You mentioned Arcturian husband. Does that mean that I was female in Arcturus star system?
Yeah. Well, you have children. So they said that there's Arcturian children waiting for you. The Arcturian guide is your primary. So the primary guide that you have in this life is your husband from the Arcturus life. So he stepped forward, and she's going to be able to unlock the memory of your Arcturian life and unlocking the full range of her abilities. And that's because you have Arcturian children waiting for you and your husband is your primary guide. That's what they said.
It's interesting. The reason I say it's interesting because I've been told that Arcturian, and
Yeah.
even one guy that he is he's pretty popular right now. I interviewed him, Ishmael. Yeah, he also mentioned that. I said, "Do you know what I am?" And he said, "I think you're Arcturian." So that's
Yeah.
kind of interesting for you to even say that as well. So
That's fine.
fascinating. Now, when in your work, Danielle, tell me, because I'm sure people will say, how did you learn? Where did you learn all this stuff? How did you get information? And how did you learn? And if people want to know where it come from, would you be able to just give all of them, where it come
Sure.
from? Mhm.
Absolutely. So I want to say my kid got a cavity, right? And this was going back years. And so I started researching, why do people get cavities? Why do we have to go to the dentist and all this stuff? And so it led me down a path of learning the conspiracy. And the conspiracy can be scary. And it's like, there's chemicals in the food and all this stuff. And so it really made me change what I was eating and go like more salad based. And then I learned, okay, well, the water and we should pray over the water. And well, the Bible says that, right? Because my mom is like a major Bible person. And so now we're praying over food and we're doing all the stuff that's kind of crazy. But then it led me down, okay, well, let me check the physics. Because now the internet used to be different back then. So when you Googled one thing, it took you down a whole like paper trail of like, well, this is related to this is related. And so I learned all this physics and the true nature of reality. And I put the whole picture of the puzzle together. And I was like, oh my God, the world is not as we know it. Magic is real. But then in 2019, my entire life had shifted and I figured out that I was channeling extraterrestrials. So in 2019, I stopped Googling, I stopped researching any Earth-based knowledge. I stopped listening to other channels and I started learning directly from the star people it's like my main guide is an Arcturian. And so because I switched primarily to learning from him, I have over 500 posts now describing the true nature of reality. And I put all out on Facebook for free for everybody to see. But from listening to him over the past 3 years, he's taught me so much information and shown me, like he has shown me how to take my consciousness, pull it in the back and zip it up and access the 5D crystalline realms. I've seen it. I've been there. Right. And so I know your thought grid changes. It shifts when you access 5D. So your speech, your language becomes very, very fast. And that's actually the beginning stages of telepathy. It's when the being speaks so fast that all of a sudden it fires off in the thought grid and telepathy forms instead of using the communication with the mouth. So the mouth becomes too slow for the actual communication process. And so that's how my guide thinks, right? And so he's shown me all this stuff. And it's like, I'm learning firsthand, and I've been saying it for years. My guides are giving me the keys to the matrix. They're showing me how to unlock this and bend the hologram to my will so that I'm able to manifest things as I see them. But that whole thing you have to release resistance to the physical reality. So the way that to manifest the things that you want to see is by being okay with what is in the now moment, because that's really when we access the 0 point of neutrality. The 0 point of neutrality is in between both chakras. So you have your heart chakra. It blasts out the front. That's the love. It blasts out the back. That's fear. So in the 0 point is in the center of those two. Now, when you go into a meditative state, you can feel the energetic shift, right? If you can pull your energy and settle it right in the middle of that, that's when you're accessing the 0 point. That's whenever something tragic is happening around me, I pull my heart chakra and I 0 point it, and I become in alignment with my energetic grids. And all of a sudden, whatever tragic is happening, it's like a hand comes out of nowhere and just makes it better, right? So that is a potential that we all have. And then when you start sending love and light from your front of your chakra, your higher self becomes engulfed in the front of the chakra. So the higher self is kind of like the pineal gland, like a pine cone where it opens up, but it's seated in the heart, but it's about a foot out from the body. And so when you are blasting this heart-based energy like you love so much, you can feel the muscles tensing up in the front. Your higher self will flower open. The second that the higher self is in alignment, that's when you want to close your eyes, allow the pineal gland to open, and send your manifestations out into the physical world. Now, the manifestations that I do every single day are for world peace, are for the hippies to wake up and unity consciousness and activation of extrasensory gifts, because honestly, that would change the world.
Wow, that's amazing. I think I'm losing your sound. Can you speak a little bit again one more time?
Can you hear me now?
Okay, now I can hear you. Just like the last word, it just kind of tuned out a little bit, but we didn't lose anything anyway. That was beautifully said. I love the fact where you said, bring it back into the center in that neutrality. And that's when you begin to really see everything, and you begin to stay centered. I love that.
Thanks.
Wow. So now tell me, one thing though, if you would be kind to share that link, the link that you mentioned about that you go and follow and you learn, is that
the one that I learned?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So that was like 10 years ago.
Okay.
So that was just the internet. So let's say, for an example, I was Googling, sound vibration and water, right? So the related pages would come up under the internet browser, and it would take you from sound vibrations to sand on a speaker, right? So it kind of took me along a journey of awakening. Now, the star people also told me that they were up on their ship and they were triggering my computer so that I would see things. So they worked.
That makes sense. They're actually guiding you throughout that whole process. So that's your journey.
Yeah.
So that would make sense a lot. So now, did the star people tell you, like, what's going to come up with the earth here, because you're doing this world peace, healing, right? What's going on with the humanity at this moment? What messages that you've been getting, and what kind of what group of the star seed that you come into contact a lot as your clients? I asked you a lot of questions.
That's okay. So you have to look at the true nature of the reality. So each and every individual is plugged into their own timeline bubble. So basically what that means is, and the Mandela effect shows us this, how I can have one memory of my history and your memory to the same history, we're on the same planet, your memory could be completely different. So one example would be Space Jam, the TV show or the movie. Some people remember it with Michael Jordan, others remember it with Shaquille O'Neal. So it's showing us how we're able to coexist in one collective consciousness, but experience different timelines. So what the star people said happens is you have a spiritual movement that's happening. And so a lot of people are waking up to the true nature of the reality. And some people, it looks like there's a 2-earth shift, right? So some people are very physically focused. Now, what happens is when the primary group of the people wake up and up and up, the 100 monkey effect kicks in. So when enough of us become spiritually aware, it's automatically going to shift the primary timeline, and the rest of the people on the planet are going to automatically start waking up. Now, when the solar flash happens, of course, being that we're each in our own independent timeline bubbles, your year can be different than my year. This is the reason why we're not supposed to listen to prophets. We're supposed to listen to ourselves and manifest and know and believe, because that's how you manifest. So it's more empowering, the information that they give me, and less like you need a savior from outside of you or someone to tell you information that's going to happen. If you wish to see the solar flash happen in 2023, believe it, and then you will see it. So I personally believe it's going to be in September 2023, but that's my belief, and that's my timeline. Timeline bubbles can be different. So they told me to be aware of that, but keep an eye on the collective consciousness. Once again, that goes into the source frequency lens above your head. The more energy you pull in, the more it'll shift out into the collective. So when you start to become aware of the collective consciousness grid, you see how the other people around you think and how many are becoming aware. Right now, some people have never heard any of the spiritual information, but yet they're walking the same earth. But now you have a whole spiritual movement where millions of people are coming together and they have this knowledge. So we see how we're able to coexist and yet have completely different realities, right? That's how this matrix works. So what you believe, you will perceive. If you believe that you're going to perceive positive experiences, when I leave my house, it's all rainbows and butterflies. I never have any troubles. Everyone is nice to me, but other people don't have those experiences. So you focus on yourself. When you are happy, you smile at people, they smile back at you. When you're happy, you'll gladly open the door for people and they'll be happy with you, right? When you're sad, miserable, you don't act that happy, and then you'll see more negativity in your life. So it is focus on yourself and you change the world that you vibrate into. That's how it works.
Oh, I love that. Actually, I love what you just shared because, wow, because everybody will experience differently. It depends on where their state of energy is at the moment. And yeah, because not all of us going to experience at the same time. Love it. Love it the way you just said it, Danielle, is actually rings the bell, resonate with me quite a bit, you know.
Thanks.
Not, I mean, a lot of people were asking too, like, okay, when solar flash is coming, when, but when for everyone is different, depends on where you're at as well.
Yeah.
And you're right, and you are absolutely right about that. If a person is vibrating in the negative zone right now, or stressed and worry, you may not see it soon enough. But when we're in like what you said, you go out, you see butterflies, you're happy a lot. Yeah, you'll be able to notice that a lot sooner, for sure.
Yeah.
Wow, love that, love that. That actually gold advice that you just, pass it on to, I mean, at least to me, but I'm sure to everyone here too, Now, anything else that you saw in my grid or in my energetic field, besides what you shared earlier, that you want to share to the listeners? Yeah.
Well,
I'm sharing myself to everyone, so I don't care.
I would stay heart focused. I mean, because of the type of gifts that you have now, a knowledge student, the star people are saying you have the potential to unlock many a gifts, right? Because each and every gift, there's 365 human biological senses that you are able to tune into. Some of those gifts are spiritual, some are physical. The sense of magnetism is a very physically focused gift. However, some of the spiritual gifts are astral projection, remote viewing, as well as dream walking and dark empath abilities. So on the occasion that you may notice that when you go to sleep, if you are dreaming, you are able to close your eyes, you are able to visualization of the dream. You're able to change and modify the dream, which when you wake up in the morning will change and modify your source frequency lens and change and modify the civilization that your vibratory frequency is aligned with. So basically what that's going to look like is you dream, you change the dream, which changes the physical reality that you wake up in. Now, each and every individual in the holographic simulation is a multi-dimensional being of light and sound resonance. So what you vibrate at is what you are going to experience. So if your vibration is aligned with a 5D Earth where telepathy and telekinesis and remote viewing things are possible, then when you open your eyes in the morning, that is the reality in which you will exist. So your vibratory frequency and anything that you can do to feel the emotional expression, as well as controlling of the thought grid and maintaining a more positively aligned thought processes, that is what you want to focus on in order to change the reality that you see.
Oh God, I love that. Yeah, that makes sense a lot, is how we actually doing it to manifest at the moment. And that's in our own experience, in our own hologram. Wow, I absolutely love that, Danielle. Wow, I'm so happy that you're here with us and sharing this gift, really, because this is like an awakening information that you're sharing with us here. Wow. Yeah. And I'm very impressed with your information. I'm very impressed with your teaching. Now, so tell us, if someone wants to get this information as well, or their starseed, or with their family, or their gift, how would they connect with you? What do they have to do to prepare?
Well, we normally book sessions at my website. So that's DanielleLipton.com. And
Okay.
so when a person books a session, I normally have them go into a meditative state 15 minutes before the session. That's when I take a look at their energetic grids and I do a primary clearing. Now, once again, after the session is done, I go back into the energetics and I do another full clearing. Except that time, I'm able to ask the person, are there any diseases on your body, any distortions, any pains, aches? Do you feel anything dense in your energetic grids? And then I'll have like a proper focus to be able to go through and re-clear it a second time. That also allows me to go through and like clip any energetic cords, because every single individual that you interact with, an energetic cord gets formed. You're supposed to clip those cords every single night to maintain your own energetic structure without sharing your energy out to the world. So it's kind of important to do that because it does actually have an effect on you. And not only that, but the telepathy. When your telepathy becomes activated, the more cords that you have with people out in the world, you will start to hear their thoughts. So if they're thinking thoughts about you, you'll start to naturally, intuitively pick up on those thoughts. So it's just good to have. I normally use selenite. So a selenite crystal, after any session, I go through and I bless my energy centers, but then I also go through and I bless the individual's energy centers. I clip all their cords and I realign all of their energetics. So that's important. But then I also have a Facebook blog, and that's the treeoflifeorganization.com. And so all of the downloads that the star people give me, every one of them, I text them, I type them out, I put them right online for free, because all the information is going to help to evolve people. And so they're all on my blog page. So you can read, there's over 500 posts about how to access all of these abilities and how to manipulate the true nature of the reality and how to heal. I was a cripple for 12 years. I was on pain meds and it was a mess. And so I actually healed all my pain in about 2.5 weeks. And that was on accident. And then that in 2019 was when I realized I was a channel. So it was like a whole life shift I went through.
Wow. So if the person has going through any kind of illness right now, could they possibly come to you and let you
Yes.
help them with that?
Yes. I do know a lot of medical cures. I'm a stay-at-home mom. All the stay-at-home moms figure these things out when they're determined. But I have undergone several different diseases I've cured and healed myself. The medical industry has just failed me on so many different levels. So I have figured those out. I do not give that information on paid sessions because, you know, there's liability and all of that. But as a friend, I will tell everyone exactly what I've done. So I can tell you guys what I've done to heal different things, the hormone imbalance. You know, I've had people with hernias and not knuckles, kidney stones, you know, the clogged arteries. Someone had lung cancer and we healed that in about 6 weeks. So, you know, there's different things that you can do to heal, but it's all the placebo effect in general, because everything that you interact with in the physical reality, it's all a frequency. It doesn't matter if it's an item or water or anything. So the main thing that the star people say is more love is needed. Now, we've all seen people with cancer and all of a sudden the doctor tells them you have 6 weeks to live. And then they sell all their stuff. They go to the Bahamas, they spend it on the beach, and then they're healed, right? So what did they do? They changed their environmentals and they changed their frequency, which then in turn allowed the physical form to heal. That's what I did in 2019. I changed my environment. I changed what are my patterns, right? You wake up in the morning, your patterns of behavior have to change. And then all of a sudden your body comes back into alignment. Yeah.
Ah, beautifully said. Beautiful. Wow. Make sure then you send me those links, your website and everything, your contact information, so the audience can, you know, get a hold of you. Wow. If there's anything else, last advice, motivations, or inspiration, you know, inspirational word that you wanted to, you know, share to the audience, Danielle, with your work and with the star seeds.
The most important thing that I've learned along this entire journey is to just love unconditionally and have compassion for each and every person. Now, you wouldn't know it, but the people who dive into the darkness the most, even like, you know, the people with the drugs or any type of darkness, or like people homeless living on the street, those people need our love and support the most. The deeper you dive into the darkness, it allows you to slingshot up in frequency to the lightest realms. So think of a frequency wave like this, right? Well, you have a center mark, that's center mark. But then the way is you have to dive into the extreme darkness to reach the extreme lightness. It's a law of polarity. It has to be even. So those people who dive into the darkness will then have the potential to reach into the highest levels of the light. So those people are usually the ones on the starseed program, and those people are the ones who activate the crystalline DNA faster because they're more light encoded or polarized to access that realm. So we have unconditional love for the people going through the negative experiences because on some level, to some degree, the source frequency wanted to have every single experience manifest before the entire species was able to evolve. So that means some of us had to dive into this darkness. Otherwise, the entire species wouldn't evolve. So we should be saying, thank you for your service in the darkness. And we should be giving them extra love and light because that will assist them in pulling themselves up to the light crystalline codes. When we see a person who is in a proper environment, who is surrounded by loving, care, and kindness, that person can do great things. So each and every person on the planet should be surrounded by that type of love, and we all will have the potential to do great things. Yeah.
Wow. Beautiful, beautiful. I have one question to ask, one more question, last question. Is everyone on this earth star seed or not all are star seed? I mean, what would be
not all are star seeds. The star people said 47% of the population are star seeds. Now, they've tried this process multiple times on this planet where they sent in a couple star seeds and they failed. So the consciousness never evolved. So now this time they kind of like overdid it and they sent 47%. So many individuals do come from different planets, realms, frequencies. We're multidimensional as well. So some people are actually walk-ins. So you may have the experience of being in a completely separate life and waking up in the morning and you wake up to this reality. There is a slight time-space delay when that happens. And then the old memory kind of blends with the new one. And then the old memory tends to fade out. That's known as a walk-in. So when we start to fire up or activate these extrasensory gifts, the true nature of humanity, which is multidimensional, will become activated with the proper frequency ranges, which then in turn will allow you to go inside yourself and pick and choose what timeline or which density or dimension that you wish to vibrate on. And then all of a sudden, the world becomes your oyster because you can close your eyes so you can be a different version of yourself in a different life, in a different reality. So there is another Earth out there that has high technology. The only thing that you would have to do is activate your multidimensional nature by activating the belief and then going inside yourself, switching your frequency range, opening your eyes and vibrating into that timeline in which that is real. Yeah.
Sounds like fun to me. Yeah.
No.
Well, I love that. I love that. Sounds like, Star Trek, but I think that's also reality. That's real in a movie. So anyway, Danielle, I want to thank you so much for being here and sharing your love and light and sharing your reading, which is amazing to me. It's like when you first mentioned the word Arcturian, like, oh my God, because in my head, I was thinking too, like, is she's going to say Arcturian, And sure enough, you did. So thank you for your time. And guys, if you're interested in connecting with Danielle Lipton, by the way, are you related to Ruth Lipton?
I'm not, no.
So anyway, guys, you want to connect with her? I got all her information here. Just look up the Tree of Life of our organization, but I'm just going to post it there under the description. Please do connect with her. You want to learn from her, or you can find out, about your background, your heritage, clearing. She'll be here to help you out. And she's definitely wise and gifted, to me. So guys, thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe, click like, and share this video. And until the next video, thank you. Thank you. Oh,
thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. And quickly, I just begin to add meditation music or meditation videos on my channel. So enjoy, guys. Thanks a lot. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your wisdom.